on the approval of the agenda, we need to change the minutes from May 8th, 2017 to October the 30th of 2017. All in agreement?
Give me a second.
You need somebody to move first.
We need to make a motion.
Yes. You ready?
I'm telling you what we need to make a motion on.
I can
I'll
make the
second
motion,
it.
yeah, okay. I'll make a motion that we amend the agenda for the minutes to be changed from May 8th, 2017 to October 30th of 2017.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment.
So now you consider the minutes.
Yeah. Let's consider the minutes. Sorry, I wanted to skip that one. Has everyone had a chance to read them?
Yep. We need a motion.
We need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as stated. What, the date?
I submitted
Submitted, as submitted,
October 30th.
October 30th, 2017.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, now public comment.
Well,
Oh, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Trying to hurry this up, girls. Okay, now we go to action items. Crystal.
Hello, Crystal Ball, City Planning and Zoning. Lorenzo, the county environmental officer, and he also does code in ETZ. He has sent these property owners to come to me to start the process. They want to change their R1 residential zoning to a commercial zone to allow them to have a business. So Lorenzo didn't show up, so I'm here. I don't see a problem with it. The adjacent properties to the north are, of course, commercial through the city. The houses to the direct west are the only the only lot that's not commercial, because it's commercial from 2nd all the way down to 17th on the south side of Avenue R also. Or Brian Erlacher Lane now, whatever. That's what it's called now.
Now what, all the way down Avenue R is commercial now?
Yes.
All the way to 17.
Yeah, that was changed back in,
South side of the island.
Mhm.
of the road.
I don't think it has been.
yes.
Yes,
Yes,
it was changed.
I have those dates.
Have you? Okay. Well, I knew Richard had asked for a variance, but I didn't think he included that. I thought he still had to come before the city to get that part of it fixed, because when he did that Crazy Horse or whatever, Wild Horse or whatever, man camp, he only asked for a particular spot. He said he might come back later, and I didn't know that he had to come back.
Thought I had the documents in there.
He did.
No, I think you're wrong.
I don't think he's.
I don't remember.
I don't remember him coming before the board to get the rest of 17th, or not, Avenue R on down. I think he still has to come back, because he was considering doing a subdivision there of houses, because I was involved in the county stuff back then a whole lot, and he asked for the man camp, period, and told him he would ask further. That's been about 5 or 6 years ago, if I recall. James, is that correct? Because we talked about that. the other day.
Actually, you know what, I was wrong. He did ask for a complete rezoning of that, but let me make sure
Okay,
in these minutes.
because back then I was attending all the county commission meetings and the city commission meetings, and I have slept since then, so I can be wrong.
So this was in January. January 9th, 2013. So that
While
would
he's
be-
doing that, may I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
You notified all the people that this would affect correctly? Okay, and you had any, what kind of response did you have?
I haven't had any.
None? No, nothing? Zilch, nobody said anything? Okay, do they have to have a traffic study since they're reopening onto a very busy street? I know there has been a food truck there before, and I'm not against their proposition, the business thing, but I just was, wondering, I didn't see any of that in the paperwork, so I was wondering if we had, or if a traffic study has been done, or if it will have to be done, if the city's going to require it, or the county.
It doesn't state that in the ordinance, so I do not have them do that.
It's always better to cross all your Ts and dot all your Is before you get started. That's a very expensive endeavor to do, and then not, somebody gets them shut down.
It's not something I've been told they have to.
Right.
So the current plan is for the vehicles to park on the street?
No, they actually, they did have, I think they drew a little, I put it in there too, in your packet.
Yeah, wasn't it once,
I didn't see that either. I was curious about that because the previous truck guy, that he didn't get one, they just parked on the street. Do you remember, Steve? Remember how they used to?
And I see the drawing of it with the food truck on the east side of the location we're talking about, but is the rest of it for parking? And
Mhm.
access to that lot is from what road?
The owners are here. The access to, I know that basically the front of their home area and beside their home is where they would be having people park for the food truck business.
Have they considered, or has the city considered the amount of traffic that that's going to add to that? That's a very, very busy corner. You have a four-way stop on west of their house, and you have a main highway just to the east of them. Have they considered, or has the city considered, I mean, I'm sure they're fixing to give us their business proposal, which is fine, but what has the city done in asking for the traffic? What are you gonna do if there gets to be a lot of congested traffic, and then you've got 18-wheelers? I've been down that street, and there's sometimes that it's not real safe for four-wheelers and the other people, so.
They need some off-street parking if
Yeah.
they're gonna do anything. And, and the buildings there are in pretty ill repair the way they are. Are they gonna do any improvements? to
Are
the
they gonna live in the
building?
house?
Or,
What are they gonna do?
what's to keep them from, a year from now coming back and putting half a dozen trucks in there?
it's commercial
For
property.
6 months ago, there were trucks there.
And that's why Lorenzo sent them in. The county code enforcement.
Is it going to be specifically a restaurant deal, or is it going to be open commercially to anything commercial?
If you change it to commercial, they'd be able to use it for any commercial business within the R3 regulations in the ordinance.
Then the traffic situation is something that needs to be looked at.
You had something, James?
Yes, everything, that's one. Basically, everything with the exception of this little parcel of land basically from Second Street all the way down to where the curve is zone commercial. That was done in 2013.
Okay, I'm not questioning that now. I mean, you found that, that's fine. What I'm questioning is this piece of parcel of land that we're talking about right now. I mean, this town has not done anything in the 60 years I've lived here to protect stuff like this. And now you have people on this board, and they sit here, they don't ask questions, they just rubber stamp it. I want to know some answers. What are you going to do about the traffic?
If I may, Madam Chair.
Sure.
This is actually the planned designated route for a truck bypass, so the traffic's only going to increase.
That's right.
Yes.
And how much of it, is it going, how much, if they're going to put a truck bypass in there, how much of their property are they going to take to put that truck bypass in?
There's
They won't.
no additional take. It's wide enough. The
Yeah,
only
it's
thing
wide
that
enough.
it needs is just some additional micro slurry seal.
And then it'll be considered a state highway.
No, it would not. It would be a designated truck bypass.
For the city.
For the, well, no, well, it would be, it's city-owned and operated. The overall intention of the whole bypass plan to include West Avenue R, or Bryan Erlacher as it's called, around 17th Street, then all the way up north to the intersection of Gum and 17th, back up on Gum. That's known as the West Bypass. The East Bypass would actually be commercial. The reason the city's been spending money on making improvements to commercial as well as 17th Street is to bring it up to what the state deems as a satisfactory truck bypass. When that occurs and we get that designated, then we would be able to limit large trucks from traveling down residential streets, down Main Street, down Avenue D. So that has been the plan since 2012.
This is addressed to the city then. That cafe that's out on Commercial, Jessica's or whatever its name,
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't have any parking, designated parking. They park on the county's property, those 18-wheelers. I've gone by there and there's been as high as 6 or 7 18-wheelers sitting on county property going to her cafe.
There's also one across the street.
Yes.
So within the city of Lovington in commercial zone, you are only required to provide for 2 on-site parking spots for every 800 square feet of business.
Yeah, but what if you come along down through there and there's 5 or 6 trucks sitting there, James?
So
What is
in
the
that
city's-
particular
what is
case,
the city's deal gonna be there?
we did prohibit parking on the shoulder. We addressed that last year, I believe it was, or maybe it was a year and a half ago.
Yeah,
But we did prohibit parking alongside the shoulder. As far as them utilizing the county's parking lot, if the county doesn't want them parking there, the county would have to take that upon
Well,
themselves.
they
But there
probably
is
did
an
with that.
issue with the fact that that is public property.
That's
So-
true, and they just took care of all that, putting all that material in there for building that building, so. But I have gone by there, and I'm just curious, because if, she's a good food truck, which she probably is, she's gonna have some good business. And that's a good location for a place to build like that. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to cause a problem. And I don't wanna be sitting on a committee that has voted something in that somebody gets killed on because we didn't look at all the things that needed to be looked at. I'm not against it being changed to commercial. I'm just asking beforehand, before we have a problem. So that's where I stand. You answered my questions, and then we'll go.
So Crystal, we have in our ordinance, there's nothing for us to do on traffic.
No.
We're changing zones.
No.
So there's nothing,
But would there be something as far as entrance and exit to the property, as far as cutting curbing and stuff like that? There's some ordinance for that.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking
It
about.
already has a driveway to the, they
Yes.
don't
To the
plan
lot?
on changing that.
The
They do
driveway
plan on having
to the
parking
house or
on
the
Lovington.
driveway to
It's
the
a
lot
driveway to
beside?
the house.
Mhm.
but they can still use that driveway to go into that other part of the property.
I understand
And how are
that,
they gonna exit
but
from
how are they gonna
that?
exit?
Same way. I have one exit, one entrance into my property.
I see a problem here, but I can see y'all have made up your mind, so let's just let these ladies do their presentation and we'll go from there.
Anything else, Crystal?
No, if you would like to ask Ollie,
Hey,
she
Jane,
is here, or the purchaser, she's purchasing.
from
from-
483 to Main Street, isn't that state maintained? It should be.
No, that's all local.
Because there's no state highway, it just dead ends there on
Correct.
Erlacher.
Correct.
Mhm. Okay, no, that was a good point, 'cause
I just see a problem with her having one exit. You're wanting to make it commercial, okay, then she needs to have another driveway. I mean, if she wants to be a business and be a legitimate business, the city needs to do something about the entrance, James. Now, I don't know whether you've got anything in your ordinance or not, but I'm just telling you, from a business, I had a business down the street, two of them, two places down there. And, I know that's a state highway, we had to go by state rules, and, I have nothing against these ladies having a business. I just think you have a problem, and you're gonna have a problem. And, you know, when the first person that gets killed, are you gonna say, well, we should have looked at that a little bit further? And it's gonna happen, because you've gotta, look at that highway. You've got a Y there, and like I said, I've seen trucks coming down through there. I just don't think it's very well planned out.
Is there a septic tank in the center of that property now?
Yes. I drive by it daily.
There is?
Yes.
I do believe so, I'm not- Does the property have a septic tank?
Somebody was digging something out there here about a couple months ago.
She
It
said
looked
yes.
like they put a septic tank in.
It's not been on city sewer, so.
Yeah, it's on city sewer, city water.
Madam Chair? if I may.
Yes.
The recommendations from this board are simply advisory. This still goes to the city commission. It has been customary when issues have been identified with potential zoning changes or granting of variances, that the recommendation for approval, if it does become recommended for approval, that there be conditions attached to it. So I know that it seems that the concern has been voiced of only one means of ingress and egress, and so if someone were to move for approval, they could actually make the recommendation that more than one means of ingress and egress is secured to that property. And that will be one way to address the concerns.
I'll make a motion, just what he said. He needs a second or it'll die.
Anyway,
A second.
I'll second it.
I feel like we need more information on what they're gonna be,
They're gonna
the
give us.
plans are.
it's,
They're gonna-
you made the motion and it was seconded. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
She's gonna give you that in
Right.
just a minute.
Kristen? Anything else?